we going?
On the far side of the table.
I'm hanging in here. How are you all? Yeah. By Lincoln's class reunion back in the summer, and I didn't see him at the reunion. His sister and I were in touch months ago, maybe more than a year ago, but I haven't seen him. Reginald Owen. Yeah, I am. I saw Charles and his mother recently. Well, I see her because she goes to sister's house. I'm going to oversee the operation, but at one point I have to leave. I have another meeting and take notes. You have to do this at your hour. Okay? This is your opportunity to answer. I called on the union. I've already defended myself. So, actually said that I could bring the union to represent me, to prove my case. You have to provide them information about what occurred. The union doesn't work in the building in which you work. You have to provide at this meeting the information in terms of what occurred. Okay? All right.
I didn't know those would be in here. Okay. Okay. Is there a computer that I can step to real quick so I can print something out that relates to that? I need a computer and then I can. I have, I disputed it. They probably didn't go like that or didn't go like that at all, depending on what. Okay. Who's sitting down there? That's the secretary. Ms. Ball.
Gary Corner, board attorney.
Kathy Walker-Steele, assistant superintendent. Teresa, executive HR director.
Donna Cameron, certified supervisor of instructional media.
Oh, yeah.
School District 189. Personnel Committee is now called to order now. Secretary, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Greenwood,
Present.
Ms. Millie,
We have a quorum started by right within by everyone in the executive session.
Gary Corner, Board Attorney.
Linda Millie, Board Vice President.
Kathy Walker-Steele, Assistant Superintendent. Princess Hayes, Executive HR Director.
Donna Cameron, Certified Supervisor of Instructional Media.
Bridget Howell, Local 382 Secretary.
Teresa Watson, I've asked for a,
Just go by yourself.
okay, Teresa Watson.
Committee with President Local 382.
Linda Baldwin, ISG Field Service Director.
This hearing is called regarding disciplinary action for disciplinary conduct on school property and insubordination. Ms. Watson, are you satisfied with your representation of anyone else needs to be here?
I would, I'm not, they were trying to have me.
Satisfied with your representation that you have, and would you like to have someone else present?
No, I'm not satisfied. I don't know if they'll really push for me, being that they really push for outpatient evaluation and 30 days probation, and I don't deserve those things. I don't know if
The record will note that you are not satisfied with your representation.
I don't feel that they are as confident as they should be.
Okay, are you requesting? Well, let's proceed this way. The record will note your dissatisfaction with your representation. I now turn the meeting over to our attorney, Mr. Gary Horn.
Thank you, Mr. Greenwood. First witness I would call is Ms. Princess Hayes. Ms. Hayes, could you state your name?
My name is Princess Hayes. I'm Executive HR Director for St. Louis School District 189.
Ms. Hayes, in preparation for this hearing, did you compile some documentation related to Ms. Watson?
Yes, I did.
And I know everyone's got a copy of what we'll go ahead and mark as Exhibit A. Could you identify the documents in Exhibit A?
Yes, there's a letter from the principal, Mary Davis, regarding insubordination, inappropriate behavior, and poor job performance. Next, there's a letter from myself to Ms. Watson notifying her that a disciplinary hearing has been set regarding those charges. And then there's also a letter from her immediate supervisor, Donna Cameron, in regards to insubordination and inappropriate behavior.
And these are true and accurate copies of the documents maintained concerning Ms. Watson in her capacity as Executive Secretary of Teresa.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hayes. Next I would call Ms. Cameron. Ms. Cameron, can you state your name for the recording
Donna Cameron,
and your position with the district?
Certified Supervisor of Instructional Media.
And in that capacity, are you the supervisor over Ms. Teresa Watson?
Yes.
What is her position?
Media Tech.
Okay. I want to direct your attention to Exhibit A. Let's say it's at the copy for you. In the back, there's a memorandum from you to Ms. Watson dated August 24, 2009.
Yes.
Could you describe for the committee the circumstances that resulted in this memorandum?
I arrived over at Bush Elementary because there were big book orders coming in from Follette. And Watson was over there and started to go over. Follette is the company or vendor that I buy books from for the district. And they were there, Donna Stumpf, who is the book vendor that I deal with, and one of her helpers, Ms. Watson, was supposed to be over there assisting Ms. Parks, who is the media tech at Bush. When I arrived over there on the morning of August 24th, when I walked in, Ms. Watson was sitting slouched in a black leather chair. I didn't say anything to her. I walked in. I was looking for Ms. Parks to find out about the book order and wanting to know why she was just sitting there, not helping. And the lady from Follette was on the phone. So I walked over there. She put the phone down, and I asked her, she said, well, book order's not here. So I went out looking for Ms. Parks and Ms. Conrad, who's the principal at Bush. Came back about 5 or 8 minutes later. Ms. Watson was still sitting in the same position, slouched, in this black leather chair. I looked at her and I said, Ms. Watson, what exactly are you doing? She said, what does it look like I'm doing? I said, well, it looks like you're doing nothing. You need to be over there helping put the books on the shelf. That's why you were here. It escalated from there. The lady, Donna, from Follette, was on the phone. She couldn't hear because of us going back and forth, and she walked outside. Ms. Watson walked over to talk on the phone, call somebody, and I went into the office and talked, and then I came back and talked to the lady, Donna, from Follette, and so she could tell me where the book order was and all that stuff. And that's it.
Do you consider that conduct on Ms. Watson's part to be insubordinate to you as her supervisor?
Very insubordinate. Because she also stated to me that I needed to learn my job. If I knew how to do my job, then the book order would have been there. I can't even do a book order right.
Did she use profanity toward you or use
No.
language?
No.
Anything else you'd like to add concerning Ms. Watson's performance?
Well, there's been other altercations where she was an officer, and there's been issues at Avance with her work performance, and at McHenry, the Follette lady, Donna Stumpf, did not want her to continue helping anywhere. So.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Greenwood.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Cameron, you indicated that the incident escalated the second time we went back and approached Mrs. Watson sitting slouched down in a chair with a black leather jacket on. Can you describe how the incident escalated?
What I meant by that was, I didn't speak for the first time, so it wasn't an escalation from the first time. What I meant was when I asked her, what exactly are you doing? And then she responded, and then it just responded back, escalated back and forth with, her saying, what do you think I'm doing? And I said, it looks like you're not doing anything. What you need to be over there helping doing that. And she said, well, you need to learn how to do your job. And that's what I meant by escalation back and forth. She didn't hit me or I didn't hit her, no, nothing like that.
She wasn't using obscene language.
No. But she was as far from my face.
She
But I never got back.
You were that far from each other's face when you
Right.
heard.
Yes.
So whatever you were stating to her, she was responding.
Yes.
You got conversation between the two of you went on, and how was that resolved? At what point did it stop, and how did that occur?
She walked away to go use the phone. Hang the phone call.
The other question I have is, you said there were also issues at Avance and McKendree. Can you define separately the incidents that occurred at Avance and then the incidents that occurred at McKendree?
Well, at Avance, I know that Ms. Davis has reported to me numerous times that she's not happy with Ms. Watson's work performance as far as putting books on the shelf, because Ms. Watson always shows her responses that she doesn't have the material that she needs from me in order to put the books on the shelf. I gave her all the materials that she needed and checked back, and there were still books on the cart that needed to be put on the shelf that didn't make it.
Okay, can you tell me what materials are needed to put the books on the cart?
It could be various things. It could be labels or tape, stamp, school's name on it. So whatever I had on hand, I gave to her, but regardless, it shouldn't have hindered putting those books on the shelf.
Well, when you say whatever you had on hand, are you saying that she had tape, labels, and the
Book pockets?
stamp, she had everything she needed to prepare? Or are you saying in spite of whether or not she had everything she needed, in your opinion, she had what she needed to do the job?
Correct. In my opinion, she had everything she needed to do the job.
Thank you. Can you give me an incident that occurred at McKendree?
At McHenry, when I arrived one day, I walked in the library, and she was sitting in the dark. There's like an office in the library on her personal computer. And when I asked her about weeding the shelves, which means taking off the old books, putting, to make ready for the new books when they arrive, she said she was more than willing to do whatever I needed her to do, but yet she went back into the little office.
Did you actually assign her to do that? Did you instruct her specifically to do that?
Yes. Yeah.
And your instructions were what? Typically would be what?
Email, written, and verbal.
You have copies of email, written, or verbal instructions to her?
I have copies of email.
When she goes to email?
When she was assigned over at Avance or whatever other school, her assignment was to shelf books.
I request at this time to receive copies of such emails that you make reference to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lord. Ms. Steele, you have any comments?
I'm just, because I am over student support services and technology, when instances have occurred, Ms. Cameron would relay them to me, and there was, last year, we had to go to officer about some incidences as officer, but I only know what's written on the AVANCE issue. I did have an opportunity to meet Ms. Donna from Follette. Donna Stumpf. And from what I heard that happened with Ms. Watson, I apologize to Donna Stumpf from Follette because of the behavior that I had heard went on in her presence. She did not deny it, but I was just telling her that it's not characteristic of our employees to act that way in the presence of people outside the district.
Absolutely. Did that occur in the 09-10 school year? Is that part of this documentation, or did that particular incident
That's
occur
this
last year?
incident at AVANCE. It
That's
happened
at AVAN in 2009.
Correct. Now, the officer incident, I did have to go to officer
Okay.
when Ms. Rowena was comfortable about some situations with the library over there.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Ms. Steele? Ms. Watson?
Yes, sir.
The memo on August the 24th, you had that in your possession?
I do.
You speak to that memo, or do you have any other comments for this committee?
Yes, I do. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to find this other paper that would relate to that right here. Okay. In reference to the unwarranted memo of Ms. Cameron, in the 2/18/09 meeting called by Ms. Steele, which Ms. Cameron attended, I reminded Ms. Cameron that I had previously informed her.
You're reading from what?
This relates directly to the memo.
You're going to make sure there's no incompetent.
The August 24th memo, is that what you're responding to?
Yes, I am.
And you're going to provide Ms. Baldwin a copy of it?
They have it. Y'all have it. It's page 3. I had been asking to do a little whiteout on page number 3 of the copy that you all got today, but I never got that opportunity. I asked for it, meaning I wanted to omit someone's name. It should be there, but I didn't want it revealed. In reference to the unwarranted memo of Ms. Cameron, in the 2/18/09 meeting called by Ms. Steele, which Ms. Cameron attended, I reminded Ms. Cameron that I had previously informed her of a reason that Ms. Lewis is as she is toward me. The evil vernacular of Ms. Cameron in the memo that she handed me did not deserve a response from me after she read from her copy. She wrongly described my sitting correctly on the couch and displaying professional posture with 2 hands on my briefcase-like carrier. Even in the beginning of the 2008 school year, about a year ago, a meeting which media technicians and library workers were told to attend and meet the newly appointed supervisor for the first time, who was Ms. Cameron. It was not a meeting at all. It was only to help a particular person for 2 days with repacked abandoned books that I was told to work with during my 5/09 temporary assignment. One reading or hearing Ms. Cameron's story would be deceived after being falsely led to see the image that she falsely described. She did not come in, leave out, and come in again, as she said, which could have caused wrong opinions to be formed and wrong actions to be taken. She made one entrance and stayed until later when she interrupted workers by inviting them out and into the room at different times. She invited the library worker out of the room for an unknown reason and soon invited the book representative out of the room, out to what she voiced as to see a scanner in her vehicle. Our atmosphere became more professional and comical at times after I tried to place a call for help. It was very deceiving for her to choose the words, "find the rest of the book order." A reader would think that a big part of the largest delivery was there. The larger delivery was separate from the few boxes that she referred to during our group meeting, which was only days before, which I had even asked about later in an email, which the current library worker could have been working with earlier in the morning as much as possible, since we had never worked with this kind of material previously. The library worker voluntarily and humorously confirmed their overall unusual frowned-upon thinking once they joined in to help after returning from speaking with Ms. Cameron as a representative. Their spouse and I worked together.
I want to be able to follow what you're reading.
Page 3.
Okay, you're on page 3.
That's at the bottom.
And this memo that you're reading was speaking to
Directly to her.
August the 24th memo
Yes.
that you received. Can you summarize what you're stating on these 6, 7 pages?
What I'm reading now is in the same order as
And it relates to insubordination.
it relates to the memo that you asked me to, that you allowed me to.
So lastly, attorney for an opinion. We have a copy of that exhibit.
If this has been entered as
you all just got it today. The union representative said he opened it, or they opened it for the first time today.
Give me a 5 minutes so we can kind of summarize this. We want to make sure that you have the need. We don't want to continue this hearing because of your act. We want to make sure that this is entered as a part of the record. The attorney has received it, marked it as an exhibit. What I would like for you to do is what? Unless you object to it, is to summarize this memo as it relates to August 24th memo from Ms. Cameron, as opposed to reading the entire memo of 7 pages.
Okay, I can do my best.
Read it your summary then.
When Ms. Cameron came into the room, I'm sorry, first of all, when I arrived to work, I went over to the table where near the material, waiting to work. The library worker who works in that building was there. After so long, we began to talk. I began to admire the furniture and went over to sit on the couch. We kept talking about the furniture. The representative and her husband, the book representative and her husband came, and they began to open the boxes and work with the material. The husband left the room, and I believe it was a design for him to be out of the room when Donna got the drama started. Donna came. I was sitting on the couch, waiting on the true book order to arrive, because this material had been there all along. I even asked about it in an email, trying to keep down trouble, is what I even said in here. I even asked about it after a meeting. And Donna walked in, and she said, "Good morning." I said, "Good morning." She said, "Good morning." I said, "Good morning." She said, "Good morning." I said, "Good morning. How are you?" Just like I'm feeling, just like you could imagine. What am I supposed to say? She said, I stopped because I had greeted her so many times before, and I'm trying to figure out, what is she thinking? What's wrong with her? She said, "What are you doing?" And I don't know Donna. I rarely see her. She shows up when different things are happening. She has these different kinds of moods. I've got emails. I'm serious. I wouldn't tell you a tale. My head started hurting with each word that I read of one of these emails recently. Each word that I read, a headache. So that's the kind of fear that she can even put into somebody as tall and big. Well, we're about the same height and weight. So I asked her, "What do you think I'm doing?"
You would agree that on August 24th, you were present at Ambient School.
August 24th, Bush.
Bush School. This is at altercation at Bush School.
It wasn't an altercation, sir.
Then you were present.
I wasn't, not on my part.
You were not present?
Yes, I was present, but there was no altercation on my part.
And that there were individuals from the book company present at Bush School.
The wife, the book representative, was at the table. And like I said, I don't know Donna. I know the different mood swings. I don't know what she does in her personal life. I don't know, and I asked her, trying to help her communicate. I imagine she wanted to say something, but she's standing there looking at me, and I don't know. So what do you think? I wasn't trying to be insubordinate. I was trying to help the communication process along. And she said, "You're supposed to be over there helping." I was like, okay. And I got up and went that way. But once again, I could have worked on the material as much as I knew how that morning. I'd been there early.
Okay, so you would say that did not occur any abusive language between you and Ms. Cameron?
When I walked across the room, she kept on fussing. And I finally looked up from the work. I said, "Can that be enough?" She said, "It'll be enough when I say it's enough." If she can get rolled up, you can get rolled up. And trying to ignore her, I would start working again. And I looked up at her, and she's still fussing, and all I could see, I almost couldn't hear anymore, was her face and her mouth moving. I've been hurt in the workplace before, and that's how I felt. And I got up to go and call the superintendent. That's the only thing I can think of. I wanted to call the police, but trying to keep down confusion and something like this, and my call wasn't returned. And then Donna, started inviting them out of the room.
Baldwin, you have anything to add?
Not at this time. Unfortunately, I have a, thank you. I have anything to add.
Another simple comment. She said, you just set me off. And you want me to so-and-so, and you just set me off? I don't know what set off means with somebody, with her looking at me like that, and there's no end in sight is what you're reading. There was not going to be an end. It's not a good end.
Okay, do you have anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay. Ms. Baldwin, due to the fact that you have to leave, we're going to render a decision and we receive the results of this decision within 10 working days. Okay. We're going to conclude this hearing. You want to add anything in closing, Ms. Watson?
Like I said, I don't know her. I know it wouldn't have been a successful end. I felt that, like I said, this is a string of events. You'll read in the very beginning, this didn't just start with Donna. I feel that she's carrying out the work of Ms. Steele. And it's like, what did I say in the notes, in your note this morning or yesterday? It's like a ripple effect, a snowball effect, a domino effect. It's linked to a number of things. It comes all the way from the church, all the way down to this.
How do you add anything to this?
No, not at this time, thank you.
What did you mean, Teresa, from the church?
There's one lady, it's mentioned in here, Miss Lewis sits now only near someone who I expressed, hated me before I was born. And that's mentioned in here. Ms. Steele got a chance to hear that testimony and was moved by it. And when Ms. Steele visited my work area at Officer on April 29th, I thought, it's written here, I thought she was just touring, maybe to see what's going on or to see if the false statements that Ms. Lewis makes about me was correct. And I invited Ms. Steele to ask for an email from Ms. Lewis when she was exiting the building, because I thought Ms. Steele and I were having a good professional relationship, even though I haven't talked to her a lot. And she asked for the email dated April 17, 2009. And in the email, it talks about how Ms. Lewis would call me to the office and tell me she didn't need me, in the workplace. And it also mentions an assistant teacher who seems to be special to Ms. Steele. And that was revealed when I was called back down here.
In reference to the August 24th memo.
I think it's all linked. I don't think you can separate it.
Want to have anything to conclude? Okay. Ms. Baldwin, as we stated earlier, you will receive the results of this hearing within 10 working days. And we conclude the hearing. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Please, would you stick around?
Yes. I'm sorry, can I have a response to one of the papers from Ms. Davis on here, but I've asked for a computer.
So you can give it to, you want to email it to me?
What is it?
She's got a response.
To Ms. Davis's writing.
Okay, sure.
How do I get it to you now? I mean, because that wasn't, you all are just opening this particular document today that I sent back on the 23rd.
Right.
So I sent it before
We just received it. If you'll let Mr. Haywood know when it's available, I'll come and pick it up from you personally.
Okay, I'll call before the day is out.
Thank you, Ms. White.
Thank you. Is that yours, mine? That was the place to send it. No, I just wanted one. I was just saying he was best. Did you go back in there? Okay. Miss Wright. Hey.
This is going to be a continuing process. You will be notified in writing that the district will request that you take certain steps. And if you take those steps, we will reconvene and discuss your future with the district and your continued employment. Right now, you're going to be suspended with pay, and then until you take the steps necessary in this process, and then we'll reconvene and talk further about your future with the district. That's where it is right now. felt that you need so that you continue to work in this district and not have to deal with that.
What else do I need?
They want whatever you need.
I don't need anything except for to be allowed to work. That's all. And for them for them to stop the discrimination. That's all I need.
Well, they are concerned with this, that
Please. Well, I do it, and this, you're supposed to be able to work this out.
I'm just but everybody has to be responsible with what.
I go to work, I need to go to work, serve these kids, and all this other stuff that they've got going on needs to stop, and I need to be able to go to work, and that's it.
And who say that's not what we're trying to work for to make happen on your behalf?
Because you're saying, get me what I need, that's all I need is to be able to work. You go to work and for them to stop all this stuff, that's all that I need.
You know what? Sometimes we need to look within ourselves because let me say this, Ms. Watson, I'll be open-minded.
Linda?
Miss Baldwin, you may call me Linda. There are things that I need to do.
Miss Baldwin,
sometimes we have to step away from the situation where we feel there is absolutely nothing wrong with that on either side. They're not saying anybody's right, anybody's wrong. What the board members are saying is to make sure that things continue to go well. Is there a problem with that?
your connotation just switched.
Okay, my connotation is exactly
The connotation. And
they want to help you, we want to help you.
Okay, so
Now, if you disagree, and you certainly can disagree, then you tell us what the next move in the process should be.
no, the last connotation that you gave was fine. The other one was not. So that's all.
Where are we at this particular time, Ms. Watson?
I would like to be able to go to work, and that's all.
Absolutely. The point of the matter is that the district is, that's what I want her to understand. The district is willing to help you.
The only thing the district needs to do is let me go to work and stop all the drama. That's all. So, I mean,
We need to meet with her. I really cannot.
No. It's just easy.
The three of us.
It's easy. The only thing I need to do is to be able to go to work. Mr. Greenwood and Miss Neely, they know me. So all this right here, they know that this is not necessary. I just need to be able to go to work and go home, do a good job and go home. And that's what I've been doing to the best of my ability, and all of the stuff needs to be eliminated. And that's all. And we don't have to meet again. This is easy. So all the meetings and things, this is, I need to be able to all that, but a bunch of nothing that was not true. All I need to do is be able to go to work and go home. I love working with the children, doing a good job. I work as if I'm working for the Lord, and that's it. What do we have to talk about now?
We need to talk about how to secure your future with this district.
I'm not going the different steps that they're going to talking about. Whatever you mentioned earlier. I'm not going to ever do that.
Well, then we need to talk about that. What's then the next step that we need to take on your behalf?
Well,
that's where we are.
You said you're waiting on them to tell me what to do.
They're going to send all of us what their findings are. And when they do that, then we need to come back to you and determine what it is you want to do next. Your desire is to remain as well as
that for, right. And that's all, I mean, we don't have to keep talking. The fact that it may not be right, we know we way back to June. So I just reserve right to meeting with her, next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And her committee, and then I'm either at Avon or McKinley. Well, no, baby, that's the senior she was taking out. Okay, 618-482-6687. Okay, 482-6687. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to you need to help me. However, sometimes that help may not come with the fact that you think it should be. That it should be right. And I mean, how long do you and I have to talk about this? How come we can't do this? The conversation. We have to talk about it until it comes to its conclusion. This is the conclusion. I don't deserve anything except for what's right. You know, I haven't done anything wrong. Because you need to pick up your belongings.
Thank you, Dr. Saunders. I appreciate it. Sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to you today. If you go back in there where the sofa is, they're going to tell you, I think I did tell you that your checks are fine, but they're going to tell you how to get back in that building to get your things. So go back over there where you were sitting before, because I don't want there to be any tension there. Okay? Here's something.
Leave with your legs out.